Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Change What We Normalize podcast. I have a special treat for y'all today. This is actually my first in-person episode since prior to the pandemic. I started this podcast back in 2020, and I was doing all of these episodes here. This was before we even had the visual aspect of the podcast. And since I started it, I've had guests, but I've never had anyone in person, right? So this is actually my first in-person guest, and I'm super excited about that. So make sure you share this out, you like, you subscribe, you leave a review. Reviews are how we get found. So far we're doing excellent with the reviews too. We're at I think it's at 5-star rating. We're doing amazing with the reviews. So I definitely appreciate all of my supporters, all of my listeners for tuning in. But I'm super excited. I'm not going to waste no more time because I got my brother here. He's doing incredible things. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a business owner. He's a change agent. I call him a millennial leader. It's just so many different things, man. So many different things that he's doing, and they're all incredible. And I'm super excited to bring him on this episode of the Change What We Normalize podcast. This is my guy, Squair Jr. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on, bro? How you feeling?
What's up?
Finally, y'all, was able to get my guy Les on the podcast. He actually brought me this amazing milkshake smoothie from what is it, Hip City Veg?
Hip City Veg. You actually put me on. You put me on.
Yeah, this joint is rocking, y'all. I gotta make sure I get a Hip City Veg sponsor.
Yeah, we do. That'll be powerful,
right? I can't be plugging them and I don't get no sponsor. For real. But no, I'm super excited to have you here, bro, and to be the one that kicks off the live in-person podcast episodes. I'm just super excited for that. But for those of you that don't know Les, I want you to go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah. Again, my name is Squair Jr. I'm from Pleasantville, New Jersey. I really am just excited to be here with you, man, because before I even go into who I am, I just want to big up, who you are and what you've been doing, man. This podcast is definitely changing other people's lives, and I know that it's going to continue to change people's lives because you're such a change agent. I know some people use that loosely, but for you, I see you moving, man, and every single move that you make, it's power packed with impact. And it helps me, you know what I mean? And I know we've been brothers for a long time, but it's truly a blessing to see you move the way that you move. And it's helped me. It's helped my children. It's helped my wife. It's helping our circle. You know what I mean? Our circle, we have a pretty tight circle. And the things that you're doing has blessed all of us, man. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I like to be really involved with my community. You know what I mean? That's something that's really heartfelt, something that has really, my mom was a teacher. My dad was in social work. I've always seen them help people. Mm-hmm. So I've always been like a people person. I always wanted to help people, really wanted to know what people didn't like, and just wanted to be a people pleaser, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing at times.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's who I am. I love hard. I work hard. I work smart, and I just try to give as much value as I possibly can. That's who I am. I like to serve.
Yeah. And first and foremost, I receive just the love that you gave me, because as a man, that's challenging to do.
Yeah,
is to receive. So I definitely received that and appreciate it and reciprocate it back to you. But I want to dive right into it, I'm be honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
So with these episodes, with this season of having guests, something I'm really big on, and you've been with me to different places when I say your story is about you, but it's not for you.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that we all have some type of story,
right,
that we're supposed to share in some way. It doesn't have to be necessarily you on a stage, a platform. It might be through writing. It might be through spoken word. It might be through business, like whatever it is, but there's something in you that you need to get out that other people need. So I want to dive a little deep into, Les Squair prior to who you are today, prior to, never the change agency, prior to Never Quit, prior to all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's jump back to maybe teenage years and how you even developed to get to this point.
Man, I was a kid that always wanted to learn something. Like I always wanted to learn. I love learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I would listen to anybody. It could be a kid, it could be an adult, it could be somebody on the side of the street. I always listen to them because, again, I'm just a people person. I wouldn't disrespect nobody. Like, nah, man, you ain't got nothing to add to me.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I wouldn't disrespect anybody in that regard. So I learned a lot through just listening, but also I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I remember my mom always telling me, "Boy, you need to stop moving so fast.
Sure.
You just want to move. You moving, and I don't really know where you're going." And I didn't know either. I just wanted to get out of my own way because I knew that I wanted to help people. So I need to get to where I need to go so that I can help people get where they need to go. So again, it was a blur to me because I didn't really know the vision, but I just knew I wanted to help. And I think that was the heart of everything. But man, I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I can say one mistake in particular. I remember growing up without really having a strong relationship with my dad, even though I desired it. And now I can piece it together, like you say, who I am now.
Right.
But at the time, I didn't even know I needed a relationship with him. And at the point of me being a teenager, I didn't really care because I just wanted what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Yeah. So that was a big mistake of mine because I didn't build with my dad, even though I had him in the house. I didn't build with him, so I didn't learn a lot of the things that I learned, in my 30s. I'm only 32, but in the last 3 years, that I could learn, back I was a teenager and in my 20s. So yeah. That's one of the mistakes that I definitely made. But the other thing that made me who I am is I matured fast. I had a daughter at 19,
Yeah,
I had a daughter at 19.
That.
Yeah, having Kylie at 19, man, it helped me to step up. And I was always, a little bit more mature than my peers, but that really helped me step up.
Different level.
Yeah. Because at that point I was in college. I was working at what's the joint? The chicken joint.
Oh, the wings joint.
Yeah, wing spot. I was working at the chicken joint. I was working.
Shot up.
Yeah. Yo, she never wanted to pay me.
She never wanted to be like,
yeah, she never wanted to pay me.
Like, I'm doing work. Like, that's crazy.
And I was driving everywhere for her because the way that I got the job was I was driving by and I saw need a delivery driver, cash. Like, so I'm like, all right, I want it like just cash in the pocket. So I went in there and told her I would drive, and she was like, "You will?" I'm like, yeah. How much is it? And she told me it was like $5.25 an hour or something like that. I was just like, I want money in my pocket. So I remember going and driving, man. I remember this one drive. I drove way out to like Weymouth Road, back like in the deep roots of Mays Landing.
Deep.
Man, it was like I took like 35-minute drive there and 35 minutes back. And she ain't even want to pay me for the day.
I'm taking all the wings. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm taking whatever I want.
Taking everything.
Everything, yeah.
But I had to work. I had to work. I remember graduating. But I remember that just being a tough time, a challenging time, because having somebody depend on you, like solely you, and it was just a lot. So I had to mature quickly. But it's been good though, It's been good.
Everybody has their specific journey and path, and
yeah,
it's almost one of those things where it's like, man, as crazy as it was at that time, it's like Kylie's a beautiful young lady. It's just like, we wouldn't change it for the world. It's like, I wouldn't change it.
No, man, and that's the thing. Like, when you growing up, in that teenage age, you're so naive, man.
Right.
To a certain degree, you think you know it all. You think this, you think that. You just think you know what's going to happen, and you don't.
You don't.
Yo,
and they told us prior to that, you think y'all know it all. I was like, because I do.
Yeah, because I do.
And then you realize, like, I don't.
Nah,
it's dangerous out here.
Yeah, and then you listen to so many other voices, and they like, yo, and you like, yo, so and so said they doing this, so I can do that too. And it's not that way, man. It's not that way at all. But you learn quickly though. You learn quickly, especially when you become an adult, and when you have other people depend on you, and you make the mistakes, and then you're unable to provide or unable to, move how you would move when you just by yourself. Like the mistake that you make by yourself is just you. So like you can take those hits, but then when it comes to like somebody else that's depending on you, you can't take that hit that. Because you gotta come up. You gotta come up with something.
Well, so it's a different kind of pressure that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
But because I know your story, obviously, just growing up with you. But it makes me think of the whole slogan of never quit.
Yeah.
And like you really lived that thing.
Yeah.
Like really, really lived that thing. And I'm not sure when it developed in you when you sat back and was like, I really like never quit.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously moments where you're just like, man, I can't do this. Like this is too much.
Yeah.
But for somehow, through God's grace, you found a way.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so powerful when you talk about never quit, or when people see the brand, it's like it's not what y'all think it is.
No.
Y'all think it's like you get the slogan shirts. It's like y'all think it's a lot deeper.
You think it's this rah,
oh, never quit. That's dope, moment. Right? And it's just like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than that. And I would love for people to kind of hear more of the story, more about that. That's why I love the power of like storytelling.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll start. I had a daughter at 19, working 2 to 3 jobs, going to college, and at that time I was doing network marketing, so I had a own little business on the side too. Then meeting my wife, at what 20 years old, and then after getting with her, she really helped change the trajectory of my life, because I was dealing with some challenging things. From just a co-parenting situation. Like it was really difficult for me. And I remember when meeting my wife, she really showed me what love really is, and it changed my life, because I started to receive love that I've never received like that from from someone else outside of my immediate family.
Right.
And after graduating, getting married at 22, had two children.
Yeah,
we were young. So we got married at 22. We bought a house at 23. We had our second child. Within 2 years later, we had our third. And then, about 2 years ago, we had Alyssa. So within about 8 years, 4 children, house, all this stuff. And then, now we just got a dog. We just got shout out Bombay.
Right. Shout out Bombay.
But it's so many things that happen. And I try not to think about it like a blur. But I remember moments sitting down in my basement like crying, because like having bills stacked up, or something going on with the house, or sick, or something happened with the kids. I mean, having my car repossessed, like it's just so many things. And I look at where I am today, and I'm just like, yo, I just didn't quit. Like that, like it really came down to I didn't quit. People like, yo, how you figure it out? It's just like I just didn't stop. Like no matter what, and that's the beautiful thing about my wife and having her as my partner, is that whenever something was happening, it was always, what's the move? It wasn't like soaking in it. It was, what's the move? So we always had that mentality. So whenever things happen, it's just like, all right, what's the move?
Right.
What's next? So
it's interesting because it's not that you didn't want to quit. It's just like I never did. Though.
Oh man, it was time. like Nipsey said in that video, that interview, I went through every emotion.
Facts.
I went through every emotion.
Facts.
I went through wanting to quit. I went through, there was even moments where I remember when you shared this interview with me, it was with Andy Fischella, and he was talking about how he would have like thoughts of suicide. And it'd be like, not like really deep, but just quick thoughts like, man, if I wasn't here, man, like it like just go away.
Right.
Like I remember feeling that, you know what I mean? I remember having those moments, but what pulled me through, of course, was God. But then I look at my children, I look at my wife, and I can't leave them to fend for themselves, not just from a financial standpoint, but just as a mental, like just an overall foundation of growth and overall experience here on earth is just humans. Like there's a foundation that I need to set for them to stand on so that they can take it to the next level, so that they can take their lives to the next level.
I know that's powerful, and it's been inspiration for me watching you go through the process of it all, because I was there for the moments when you wanted to quit. I was there from when Kylie was born, actually all of them, now think about it.
Yeah.
But from like the beginning of it to now, and it's like, yeah, that's a real journey. But people may see you now and be like, yo, he's killing it, he's doing this, but it's like, you still don't understand the story behind this, or what I'm still developing and growing through. You had, just recent stuff, like you said, with the whole kind of letting go with you and your dad, and really that situation, man, that wasn't that long ago.
Nah, and what's so crazy is it's amazing how God works, because we can go through so many years of turmoil, of great challenge, and then when it clicks, and when you get into like God's will, like it's like none of that ever happened before. You know what I mean? Like, it happened, you felt it, but it's like like you walking in glory. And not saying that no challenges going to happen, not saying that but you just in this rhythm. And right now, I think I'm just in this rhythm, because I want to be in His will. I know what it's like to live outside of it. Right. I know what it's like to
different.
And that was part of that, me having to learn to never quit. I was doing things by myself. Right. Like even me and my wife being married, like there was times where I was still doing things by myself. She was doing things by herself. Like we were together, and when it came to family stuff, we worked together, but we had these individual things that we were like working with, instead of coming together and saying, babe, what you need? It was, and I think a lot of people, I talk to a lot of different people about their relationship with their significant other, and sometimes they keep things separate. And it's unfortunate, because you don't get the fullness of what God brings to, a relationship between a man and a woman, coming together, married, and just, building a foundation for their family and generations to come. You got to work together. But I had to learn that. And because I wasn't I was just on my own. I was just on my own thinking, my own understanding, just saying, like, if I can just get to this point, then I'll bring him. I heard this guy say it. Matter of fact, you was there, George Hawkins. He said, a lot of people say they want to give the God the glory, or they say, I'm doing this for my family. And they have success, and they up on the podium like, I did this for my family. I did this for God, whatever. But in that time, you didn't spend no time with your family.
So
you didn't spend no time with
God.
Your family? Yeah, you ain't really doing it. You're just doing it for the success of yourself. But the reality is now that you got the success, you have nobody to share it with.
And that's a scary thing, boy.
Yeah.
That's a scary. I don't know. What's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point if I can't share it and you can't enjoy it and embrace it with me?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point? It's interesting because speaking of that whole George and the conference and all that.
Yeah.
Alicia. Am I saying it right? Alicia.
Yeah.
I'm in her journal group or whatever. And one of the things that it was talking about was we had to do a journal entry, kind of speaking as our future selves, talking to God in the sense of like, thank you, God.
Oh, that's dope.
Right now I'm over on this side of the country doing this. Kind of like checking in with God, right? So I did mine's last week. We're doing it, and I kind of hit it like, hey, God, what's going on? Just want to say thank you for helping me to kind of break through this procrastination thing. Right now, I'm traveling the country with my family.
Wow.
Mind you, I haven't got a kid or nothing yet. But this is the thought process. Like, years down the line, I'm
right.
traveling the country with my family, and they get to be with me. We've created a life together, me and my wife, that we don't have to vacation from. Like, all of this stuff. But it makes me think of what you were saying. And that aspect of like, yo, I want y'all to be here and embrace all of this. Like, this is what my vision is now. It's not what's the situation right now. It's like, this is what I want it to be. I want y'all to be able to jump the plane with me and we out. And you can see what dad's doing. You can see what your husband's doing. We can have dinner. We can, all that stuff, the fullness of them. We can embrace all that God has for us together.
That you said something I think is powerful. It's like because you created that scenario, you start to develop the environment around you so that it happens.
Yep.
And I noticed this around the time that I actually, because I got into a business community, and the coach, I didn't even know never quit was like a thing, but I was saying it often.
Wow.
And I was saying it often, and he was just like, yo, this never, like, why don't you just go with that? Like, that be what you are known for. Because when I listen to your story and all the things that you've been through, the reality is that's why you say it so much, because that's you. Like, that's you never quit. So when that became the thing, or how I live my life, I started casting this vision. Like, I want this and I want that, and I want my family being this, and I want my family, I want these different things. And I started talking to my wife about it. What we did was we set the vision, and then when those things were happening, like when my car was repossessed, even though I felt that, it was like, all right, how we get it back?
Right.
Because like we know we don't stay in the moment, or I shouldn't say in the moment. We embrace the moments, but we don't like pout about it.
Yeah.
We don't sit in it and
it's like we gotta
make it worse.
Like, it's happening. Like, what we doing?
Yeah, like what I mean, really, what we gonna do? Seriously. I mean, if we sit here and cry about it, then they take the car, we never gonna get it back.
If we get angry about it, they're not bringing it back. It's like
there's not, nothing's gonna happen outside of you doing some sort of action that's gonna help you get the money or whatever, or make a phone call or whatever. So that was the mentality. That's like our strategy. Like when people say, well, what's your strategy to win? We just never stop.
Right.
And when you make it as simple as that, sometimes people are like, yeah, but what was
like, we don't like simplistic, but simplistic is like, I'm starting to realize now in this season of my life, like, simplicity is like I kept hearing less, like LESS, and I was just thinking like, yo, just less, like,
yo, it's funny,
like, leave everything simple, stupid. And I don't know why I said that to myself this morning, but that's why
everything simple, stupid. I like that. I never heard nobody say it like that.
It's just like, yo, just it's simple. Because when I think about just life and where God's taken us and different things like that, just like, yo, we make it really complex.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's not hard. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be challenging, difficult. You're gonna have your ups and downs, but it's simplistic.
Yeah, man. It's definitely not easy, but it could be very simple, man. It could be very simple for us. And I think that's what has helped me mature more than anything, is keeping things very simple. Every time I made things really complex, I go down a rabbit hole.
Same.
And be all congested with so much stuff that I didn't know what was up, down, left, or right. And a lot of times those were those moments where I was down in my basement, like crying out, like, I need your help. Because I didn't, like, I tried everything that I knew to get an understanding, to get out of the rabbit hole, to get out of the depression. Personal development was my God at one point. Like,
same.
My dad introduced me to personal development when I was a kid, when I was like 7, maybe. Being in the cars, listening to Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar and Les Brown and Billy Graham, all these people. Like, I listened to all these people, so it was like embedded in me. So I always had a positive attitude. I was always really positive. When people saw the negative, I always saw the positive.
Same.
I was really optimistic about things.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that, Mr. Optimistic.
They gave me a trophy for it.
Yeah, I remember that. So like that was a really big part of me and what kept me ahead. But what happened was a lot of mistakes and some of the issues and trauma that I dealt with in my life, I didn't really deal with it. I was just so positive, like you know, there's a fine line between being optimistic, positive, and then sweeping things under the rug.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And we need to discover that more, because sometimes what we do is we'll sweep it under the rug and we go, oh, nah, everything's great. It's like, nah, bro, you need to actually feel that for a second.
Yeah.
And then deal with it and then like address it. And
that's not optimism.
No, that's not optimism. No, not at all. Not at all. But some people will try to disguise it as. It's kind of like how the thing you told me the other day where you said that some people try to be, they say they're humble, but really they're hiding.
Oh, yeah.
That was powerful.
That was heavy, yeah.
That was powerful.
When I heard that, I was like, sheesh, like, you're not humble, you hiding.
You hiding.
Like, oh.
It's a different, and I've been saying this for a while, but I'm doing research now, right? Where, and it's not so much research, it's more like discovery. But there's some words that the world uses that is similar to like what the word of God says, but it's like, again, that fine line. It's like that fine line. It's like it's kind of, or it may not be a word specific. It may be just a term or whatever. But like you say, humble. Like people, they say humble, and then hiding. Like humble is like, that's kind of like a world term for the most part. Like, and the reason why I say it's a world term, of course, it's in the Bible, but people have like butchered it.
Yeah, for sure.
People have like they put culture. I hate when the world puts culture around something. It's now the world's. It's like influence. I can't stand the influencer. I can't stand it.
I was just talking to my cousin about that earlier.
I can't stand it.
And she was like, because she's worked as a therapist for years, and she's looking for a different line of work or whatever. And I'm like, yo, you can go into like consulting or something.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, like the influencers like on social media. I was like, nah. I said, nah. She's like, cool, because I hate when they up there.
Yeah, man.
They trying to like share their stuff.
Because influencers, that's exactly right. Like influencers, like the feeling that I get is capitalistic.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like I'm giving you something for a return. You're influencing them to do something so that you get something in return.
Yeah.
And I feel like, look, if you're going to be professional, I'm a consultant.
I'm a consultant,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you do this influencer thing,
it's
like even
just like
like
a lot of people are
it's a buzzword
with no influence.
It's right. Like, it's exactly.
It's like, who do you influence? And I just got a bunch of followers and stuff. It's like, but if you put a product up, would they buy it? You know what I mean?
I just think that the world has caught it. They brand it. They add buzzword in this culture around it, and then it's the world's now. As people start abusing it. Yeah, people start abusing it. That's why I love like that difference is, oh, now people say, oh, I'm humble. You ain't humble. You hiding.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And I want to start breaking down the discrepancy. Like I want to start tearing that stuff apart. Like, yo, stop it. Stop it. No, like you right. like if you want to inspire people, like people are saying they want to be influencers, but what they really want to do is inspire folks. So now good people are falling into this. Like we were talking about this before. Like we've been so caught up in personal development that at times our heart is for the people, and we've been trying to find ways to be compensated for what it is that we've done, because we want to do this forever, and we know that we can't do it for free.
Absolutely.
But we would.
Yeah.
And we have for years.
Yeah, we still do it.
Exactly. And we choose to do that. And it's good when we do it. But I think where the confusion comes in is when you're inspiring somebody, you give them their own feeling and interpretation of what you share with them so that they go and do it. An influencer means that you're trying to influence people to do what you're doing.
Right.
And I don't like that, because it puts everybody in this box, and people don't think outside of it. Like I can see an influencer, they give me the information, I can take it and do what I want to do. That's just because I see outside the box. But the people that's just running with the world, running with the culture, and we've been in this for how long? Like 10 years. Yeah, it's been long. But there's people who never been exposed to what we've been exposed to. So we can look at the industry from the outside in, but they in. and they're like, yo, this is gold. And it's like, bro, you kind of caught up in this
you're
matrix.
Gonna lose yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna lose yourself because that becomes your God. Now you chasing this feeling instead of being effective. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot.
It's such an interesting space on the topic of personal development, self-help, because it's like it's powerful at the same time.
It is.
It's a great space to be in if you want to learn, network, develop. But like at the same time, like you said, it's almost like a drug to where it's like, yo, I don't do nothing but personal development. It's like, fam.
Yeah, because they're not executing and applying anything.
And the next thing you know, you went down the rabbit hole of Gary V videos, and you ain't sleeping. You ain't sleeping a week.
Yo, listen,
he got you out there the yard sale selling cards.
I remember watching Gary V and being hooked on this dude for like 4 or 5 months, and he was doing all these challenges, bro. I remember he was doing this one challenge, and I think it was like an eBay challenge, and he was like, "Yo, you can go into stores and buy things at retail price, and then sell them on eBay for like, a lot more expensive because a lot of things are like, nostalgic, whatever." So
that's hilarious.
I remember going to Walmart and looking in the DVD and looking at all these older DVDs, and then going on my phone looking to see if people
way out their purpose.
Yo, people out here chasing this money, man, and you find yourself in a position where
that's the dark side.
You're so that's the dark side.
Feels like I need to be the next millionaire mentor.
Exactly. And what you don't realize is you could be super effective with 60,000.
Bro, when E had opened my mind, he was like, a lot of people don't need, everybody, the goal is like, I need to be a millionaire. But it's like, you might be straight with 100K.
Yeah.
300K, 500K.
Yeah.
Like you might be super solid. And then I sat down and like did my own stuff, and I'm like planning out our money. And I'm just like, I want to be a millionaire for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I need to be.
Yeah. It like for me, the reason why I always want it to be is because and will be.
Amen.
Yeah,
likewise.
Is because there's so many people that I want to help. Like
same, I have a big heart.
Yeah, man. I want, and I was always like that. Like even today, I'm doing well, but like I still give, man.
Yeah.
Like I give, like, and the way I give, it's without limits. Like it is literally without limits. Like, dude, I remember when I first. I think it was last week when I went to Hip City Veg, and I was talking to you on the phone. This dude came up to me.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling me about his, his prison story.
He was like, particular.
He was. He was like, yo, I got out like 10. I had 10 more. I had 10 more years, but they let me out. And I was like, oh, well, you must have been good, man. He was like, yeah, but I had 10, and now I was. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to get some food. So I gave him 5, and he was like, all right, yeah, appreciate it, but he didn't leave. You know what I'm saying? He didn't leave. So I knew, you know what I mean? And I'm still talking on the phone with you, and
that's funny.
Trying to engage with him for the time that he was there. And then he was just like, yeah, I'm trying to get something to eat from Wawa. And I'm like, all right. He was like, yeah, 5. I'm like, all right, what you need? He was like, I said, bro, listen, just tell me what you need. You know what I mean? Like, just tell me
stuff to do.
And then, he was like, I just want to get something to eat. And then I gave him more money. He was like, yo, thank you. This is it. And I was just thinking, like, yo, that right there, some people would have judged him and been like, man. But and then I look at, that area in Philly, so many people pass because they're just so used to that environment. People being there. Right. But I'm sensitive to it because, first of all, that's who I am, but I don't see it a lot where I'm at.
True. So it's not like the norm of every day I walk outside. Right,
exactly. But that's something that I want to do on a regular basis. And my family they've seen me do it. We be driving, I see someone on the side of the road. Like I do, like I get out the car. If I have food with me or money, whatever, I make sure that they have it. They get it. So but I didn't mean to go down that route.
No.
But that was that's important because people need to know our intentions and why we do what it is that we do. And I think that once people know your why and they know your story, they know what you're about, they can trust you with the millions. They can trust you with what it is that God blesses you with, or they contribute or invest in you with, because we're tired of putting money in people's hands and they not doing nothing with it. Like, I mean, it happens every day.
Right. Every day.
Every day. Every day. Like you look at different businesses, you know, you pay for certain things and you're looking for a certain exchange, and they just like, thank you. Like, all right, peace. Like, and I was talking, I forgot who I was talking to, but like a lot of businesses have used the pandemic as an excuse to not offer exceptional customer service.
Yeah,
I
had a problem with that.
Yeah, like I get that y'all might be understaffed, but yo, the staff that you got, they need to be working.
Right.
You know, and when I say working, I'm not talking about like working hard and, you know, like a sweat box. They working 40,
like
50 hours a week.
Company, like, that's
pride. It's like have pride. That's why I love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, because even during the pandemic, they still gonna give you.
Oh man, they gonna give you
a lot of places fell off big time with the service.
Oh man,
oh well, we just got to get people in. It's like, bro, it's smart people out there.
I know.
Come on, I'm trying to play me. Like, you could have got anybody.
But even if you don't get anybody, like, you're still in a professional setting,
and you got to see this as temporary too, because you're about to damage your business long term because of you didn't operate professionally in the temporary time in between. That's and good. A lot of people not.
That's good.
They're not seeing that, man, and it's exposing the culture of a lot of different companies and businesses and brands and all different types of stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I'm big in branding and culture, because, you know, first of all, when you look at somebody's like their brand, it's what they stand for, like it's their reputation,
right?
And if you want to be known for something, you know, you obviously want to be known for something good, because, you know, if you're good, people will continue to do business with you,
right?
But it's mind-boggling to me how businesses can say we offer this and we this and that, but their customer service and their culture is just off from their messaging. And I don't think it's fair to the customers, because we work hard to provide you know, to give you money in exchange for the thing that you're promising.
Right.
Now everybody make mistakes, businesses, whatever. And that's another thing I want people to understand. Like, businesses are also ran by people. So, you know, they make mistakes too. But when they do, they should fix it just like a human should fix a situation with another human. That is, if I offended you, or you know what I mean? Like, you should fix that. Yeah, like you should definitely fix that. So, you know, that's one of the things that I teach when I'm doing this, you know, this branding thing. And I know you asked me like some of the other things that we do, and one of the things that me and you talk about is like titles at times.
Yeah,
it's like,
man,
everybody has these titles, and
titles, man, it's such a challenge for me.
Yeah, and I've used brand specialists, and I didn't even come up with that. Somebody gave it to me. I think it was actually Glenn. Glenn called me his brand specialist, and then from that point, I was thinking about titles and what I should use, because, you know, the marketplace tells you got to have this professional title or whatever, and for people to notice, you know, what you do and who you are, whatever. And he gave that to me, and then I just kind of been running with it. But that limits me. I do so much.
Yeah,
I do so much, and there's so many things that I want to do, and I will do, and I'm currently doing, that isn't just branding. It isn't just branding. Like, I mean, there's this I think I'm commissioned with like bringing the Holy Spirit to the marketplace. Like the discernment. Like, some people make moves based off of numbers and I get that, but there's just something about the, you know, that discernment, like that innate gut feeling that you get, like even the gut feeling that you get about a certain company or a certain brand or whatever it is. Like, you just feel like you gotta do business with them for whatever reason. You gotta stop at Starbucks. You ain't even thirsty. You ain't even tired.
Ain't even
none
of that.
Yeah, ain't none of it. But you just gotta stop. Yeah, you just gotta stop. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Like, I want people to know that there's a reason why you're doing business outside of money. Like, there's a reason. And I just want people to get to that why, because if you get to that why, not only will you wake up better, you'll provide a better culture so that the people that you're working with can feel that. Like, imagine what it's like working with like Kevin Hart.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Or somebody who loves, like Dave Chappelle. Like, imagine working with like LeBron. I mean, of course they want to win, so there's those moments, but like at the same time, it's a culture of love, compassion, passion, like all of that, man. Motivation, because they want excellence. They want greatness. They want to be the best. And I think when you show up like that,
yeah,
you know, the world is your, you know, you can do whatever. You could do whatever. I think Kobe was like, yo, when you make a decision that, you know, this is what you're going to do, the world becomes your library. Like, whatever it is you're going to do, like, the world becomes your library, because there's so much out here, and you don't have to be stuck to just one path, or what somebody else did, or just what the world has to offer. Yeah. Like this table right here, there's millions of different tables. I can choose whatever table I want, or I can make one.
And I love that you brought the Kobe thing up, because I think about how he transitioned right after basketball into like filmmaking and writing books and stuff. And he got awards almost immediately.
Absolutely.
But what that made me realize is like, okay, his focus was basketball, but I think his focus was even greater than just like, how can I shoot the best jump shot? Like he had this vision of just, how can I be the best at whatever I do?
I think his focus was his focus.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know what I mean? Like whatever he was focused on, he was focused.
Like focus.
Like that was it.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to misquote the story, but his last game, or the game when he had 80 something, no. Well, how many points did he have his last game?
He had 60
something crazy.
50 or 60
something stupid, like crazy. But he was at his house working on, I want to say, one of the books.
Oh, I remember that story.
And he was locked in, because his brain was already checked out. Like, I'm retiring after this. Like, he was locked in already on the next thing, and they had to come get him from the house. Like, you got a game tonight, bro. It's like, oh. You know what I'm saying? But that, like you said, his focus is on whatever he's focused on. Yeah. He's in that thing.
Yeah, because he was on, and that's so powerful, and such a great lesson, because he was so focused on the next thing that the thing that he was focused on for so many years, once he let it go, it was like, I'm done. And he left the game without feeling like, oh man, I gotta come back. Like he wasn't feeling like coming back. When people asked him, like, he was like, no, I'm done. Like that chapter is done. I gave everything to it.
It's almost one of, like, I don't have a regret. I gave everything.
I can move on. Yeah, I can move on. And most people that can't, just think about it. Like, just think about it. If I was able to give everything to this one thing, I can close the chapter and move on. And the reason why most people are unable to move on is because they didn't do what they know they could.
And a lot of us are double-minded. So it's like, we live in an era now where there's so much information and so many different things. You want to do what he's doing. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a writer. I want to do this. Yeah. I want to coach. I want to influence. I want to do this. Where it's like, you're so scatterbrained that you can't focus on the one thing just for this season. Because it's like, things I truly believe things change as the seasons go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the mission is always the same, but the plans and the things in between change.
Right.
So the mission for me is to make a greater impact and change my community, empower youth all over the world. Right. But that's going to look different. This season, I might be speaking at schools.
Right.
Next season, it might be, a TV show.
Yeah.
The season after that, it might be movies. Next thing you know, it might be opening the school. But it's like, the mission never changed. It was always to do this. Yeah. But it's like, it just looked different. And what I think the issue was, and I'll speak for myself, was that I got attached to whatever the process was. And that's like, oh, that's the mission, to be in every school. It's like, that's just the season, right?
Yeah, that's the season. Yeah,
that's why you got to sharpen your skills. And this is the season that's going to take you to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's going to continue to grow. But a lot of times we get caught up in what's in front of us and not what's the mission. All right, God, what's the vision? What's the mission? You want me to use this gift you've given me for empathy and influence? All right, bam, I'm on it. Right. Whatever you need me to do. If that means I got to start a podcast, I'm going to do it. If I got to write a book, I'm going to do it. If I got to go speak, I'm going to do it. If I got to record, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm going to do that. If I need to go work at an after school program, I'm going to go do that into the next season. And it took me a while to learn that, but it's like, man, if we can focus on the mission, you know, you won't get so caught up in the minutia of like the plans.
Yeah,
and you allow God to handle that part of the process.
Yeah, if I can, if I can, if I can share some wisdom just based on my story, stop planning. Stop planning. And when I say that, people be like, how can you say?
I'm about to say go deeper because some people about to log out right now.
Yeah. Like
some people about to cut the podcast off.
What I mean by that is plan and go.
Plan and go.
Planning means you're consistently, all right. So this move got it. Oh, okay. All right. We're not, all right. Nah, just press long enough for you to actually get through to the other side. I think sometimes we get to a point where we so caught up with things happening a certain way. And that's what I mean planning. We got this exact way on how things are supposed to
go.
So when it don't work out like that, then we quit. For me, the reason why I never quit means so much to me is because I don't know what it looks like. I got a vision on where I want to go.
Right.
And I'm just moving. Anything that, like we talking about this morning, detours, the detours that God take me through, I'm embracing them because I know that I'm going to be better for it. So I'm looking at it like, okay, this detour was for what's my lesson in this thing? How can I grow in this and where I can then be an asset to somebody else? Because if you think about it, I was thinking about this as you were talking. When you find out, like, oh, I got the gift of empathy, I got the way that you navigate this is go to where people need it.
Go where people need it. And then you become the solution. And then watch. Then when people are blessed by it, guess what they do? They become word of mouth agents. That is branding to us, like as far as branding in action. Word of mouth is still the most powerful thing ever.
Absolutely.
Every place that I go to now is because somebody told me about it.
Right.
It's crazy because when I was in the
I
was over at seeing my primary doctor. You know, we talking about. I'm like, hey, I got the wedding coming up. Where's it at? I told him, yeah, it's Regalia. It's da. Oh, the food, man.
Oh,
the food. But this is like the 12th person that said it to me. Oh, the food. So it's like, oh, maybe I should go there. The food. It wasn't the website that did it. It wasn't none of that stuff. It was like, yo, somebody kept saying, hey, yo, you gotta go, bro. Like they sold it for you. Like they was getting paid. They sold it for you like they was getting paid, man. And they're like, yo, you need to come out. We got a little guest with us for those that can actually view this on YouTube. Nipsey and Roxy, they've been behaving, but they're here now. So
yeah, absolutely. So and you know it's crazy. As far as animals go, dogs, I was never really fond of them, to be honest. Like,
right.
I remember I always tell the story when I think I was Leslie's age. I was like 5 years old, and my mom bought a pit home. And he was chasing me all around the house, and I was scared of that dog, man. And he pooped on the floor one time, and my mom was like, "That's it." She got rid of him, and that was it, man. I never had a dog or any animal since. Or I had a fish, but other than that,
right.
And I always told my wife and the kids, like, "Look, we're not getting no dog." And then here we are
with a dog.
See, I'm growing, man.
Hey, man, that's development. So as we talk about growing, there's a few more things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah,
I want you to talk a little bit about the change agency and how that came about, because that's something that's powerful that you've been working on, and I personally think that you've been doing it years prior to it actually becoming a thing.
Yeah.
But when you've officially made it like a business and really started doing this work, like, what was that process like? Like, when did that transition happen? Why the change agency? Why did you feel like it was a necessity?
Yeah, this thing is deep, man, because I'll get to the point and I give you the context around it.
Yeah.
Essentially, I want people to understand that, first of all, we're human.
Right.
And like the division and all of the cancel culture, like all this drama, man, that this world just promotes, man. I want to promote unity. I want to promote people giving others grace, mercy. Like we talk about the word a lot, but we gotta live it too, man. Like so many people talk about it and they can remember all these scriptures and but when it comes to living it to its fullness, we don't do it in this. I know it can be challenging, and people will always, oh, well, Jesus died for us. Yes, of course. But if that's the case, then you should also give other people grace and mercy when things happen. So the change agency is to really help. Excuse me. Kind of hone in on that. Hone on that thought, on that concept, on that mission, whatever you want to call it. It's a foundational principle. But it's to continue to help people love on one another, man. It's really to help people love on one another. So the way that I'm doing it, so that's my purpose, is to help people love one another without motives,
right?
Unconditionally, like limitless, have grace, mercy for each other, to not be divided, but to come together. The way I'm doing it right now is individually, where I'm meeting with different business owners and really helping them be a little more human. Because we've created this level of perfection where people don't think they can make mistakes.
Facts. That's the whole personal development space for me. Is like people talk transparency, but it's like you don't display that. You don't walk that.
Right.
Everything is crystal clear, perfect all the time. And for me, it's I don't want to say a turn off, but it pushes me away because I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, because it's not real, man.
Yeah.
Like you can share your story where everything is up, and it's like, look, man, I know you have downs. It's life.
You're human.
Yeah, you're human. But right. that's the thing. I'm and I know social media has been a great service to us, but it's been a great disservice. Because we comparing so much, and when we compare, the reason why we compare is because we so divided. If we were together, you wouldn't see that much of a difference between each other.
Right.
And I'm talking about like all races, all cultures, like we're human.
Right.
So the way that I'm doing is one-on-one, meeting with different businesses, just with a brand. With the reason why I'm doing brand, the reason why I'm calling it branding, or I'm under the branding marketplace, is because I'm helping people with their messaging. So that they can build a culture that can live in their business even when they're gone. Look at I look at Chick-fil-A, I look at Apple, I look at these companies that look at LL Bean. Like I look at different companies. Like LL Bean has a culture, like it's actually in their system now, where you can return anything. Doesn't matter how old it is, doesn't matter damage. LL Bean. When I was on the beach patrol, my captain actually exposed it to me. He told me and he showed me their policy. It don't matter how, it could be 20 years. He had this 20-year thing, and he took it back. And they just take it without no, you don't got to prove nothing.
That's different.
Right. And that's why everything you see of his, he got an LL Bean chair, LL Bean hat, everything LL Bean. So it makes you want to buy into their culture. And then guess what happens now? He gives that same kind of grace.
It's changed you.
Right.
It's changed you.
Because
that's
when
powerful.
So you see why now this branding piece is important to me, because if I can dive into your story and I can help you see the value, and I can help you connect the lessons from the pitfalls that you had, and show you how you kind of overcome, but then creating a message where it's relatable, that you can connect to other people. What that means is you can share a message in a story that connects with folks, but you ain't just telling them dirt. You're telling them how you overcome, but you're being real with them about what you had to come through, and here's a solution to it, and you can help them. So now when these people connected to it and they get there, they are blessed by it. They take your solution that you're offering, whatever it is, your product, your service, whatever, and they're starting to change their life. That's why it's change agency. I'm setting this up so that people can help others change their lives for the better. and that's why, that's why I say
powerful.
change agents. That's why I'm a community advocate. I'm just doing it through a I guess a business venture.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. But the greater scale is once things once things really start flowing, I want to do like short films, like promoting unity, positivity. I saw this video, man. It was so dope. I got it saved on my phone. I watch it pretty often. So it's a woman. She's pregnant and she got like 2 kids, and she's walking down the street. There's these 2 kids, 2 black kids. They're in a store and they're kind of like looking around. And there's a guy he's walking out of this house. He puts his hood on and he got like this duffel bag. Mm-hmm. And the setting of it looks like something shady's happening. So the woman's by herself. She got 2 kids walking, black woman, and she's pregnant. So it's like it's a negative kind of like, oh, she's single mom, whatever. Like she done. And then the 2 kids like, oh, they about to steal something. And then the other dude is like, he's about to, go make a sale or something. Mm-hmm. So it shows the transition to the dude that came out with the hoodie and the bag actually went to I think it's his grandma or somebody's house, but he pulled out the bag and it was a gift for his daughter. It was his daughter's birthday.
Wow.
And then for the kids were actually looking for like a specific candy bar or something like that. And then when they found it, they got excited and then they pulled out the money and paid for it. You know what I'm saying? And then there was another guy, I think it was a guy that came because they were short of the money, and another dude came and like paid for the rest of it. And then for the woman, there was a husband pulled up in the caravan, jumped out, grabbed his kids, put them in the seatbelts, opened the door for his wife, put her in, gave her a kiss.
Wow.
And it just
wow. It's like don't make assumptions.
You don't make assumptions. And those are the kind of short films that I would like to create so that people can, first of all, coming from where I come from, I want you to start making assumptions about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want you to start making assumptions about my race or about my culture, and it's beyond that. I mean, of course, it's just humans in general, but there's a message that I'm trying to create because I used to get tired of trying to prove myself to other people.
Thanks. I know what that feels like.
You know what I mean? Like you had to be like the token. I was like the token black guy on the beach patrol for 16 years.
You're trying to prove you fit in.
Trying to prove that I'm worth. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to prove it. And I already knew I was, but it was just like I'm trying to get y'all to see it because y'all need to buy into what I already know. But y'all not treating me like as such. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like y'all give me just a little piece, but when it comes to really getting into it's like, yeah, we divide it. You can only get to a certain point. And I don't like that feeling, man. I don't even like that's a thing. Not saying that we can't have success. I'm seeking unity. Like I'm seeking change. I'm seeking unity. I'm seeking us coming together, being able to have the hard conversations, but not ones that'll rip us apart, but the ones that hurt, but bring us together.
I like that.
You know,
that's powerful because that's the type of company, the type of business, the type of brand that changes, millions of lives, changes the world, as they say.
Yeah. And it's taking some time because
it's going to take
time. We're doing it. Yeah. Cause we're doing it the right way,
and it's untraditional. There's no real blueprint for it. Like there's a blueprint. Like I always think people like, it's a blueprint for all of this. And it's like, it's a blueprint for what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the blueprint for what I'm doing.
Right. Because we all have a different.
God told me to do something different. Like,
yeah.
Even the whole branding thing is like, what you just explained, that ain't about to look like my branding man down the street. That's like, yo, I got you. I'm hooked up with the fire logo. These are the colors that people like to play off of.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, don't give me that. Like, give me some real, like, give me the why behind all this stuff.
Yeah.
The most important. Like, give me the why. Don't give me the what and how. Like, I know all that stuff. What's the why behind it? Because that's what's going to separate us. Even though your guy, Steve Jobs, is like, it was the why.
It was the why, man. And I'm gonna say this because I'm not sure if anybody actually understands how powerful the moment was that he had in his garage with his partner, Steve Wozniak. Like Steve, like at the time, computing and computers were only for people who created computers,
right?
Who built them and put the software and coding and stuff on it. It wasn't for average, I shouldn't say average, but just people like you and me, yeah. Right? So Steve Jobs said, "Yo, this product should be in everybody's house. It should he saw something that nobody else saw."
And that's you know, before you even move forward, I feel like we all have something like that. Maybe not the grand scale of that, but it's like you see something in here.
You see something
that I don't see.
Right.
I'm never going to see.
Right.
Until you make it come to life.
That's the thing. That's it right there. That's the thing. Exactly. That's the thing. Whatever that thing is,
I'm never going to see it.
You're never going to see it. But that's the thing that person needs to move with. Because people are not going to see it like you see it.
That's good. I hope people don't miss that.
Yeah, man. So as he cast the vision, now Steve Wozniak, who is this, mind you, and this is so crazy because sometimes people will buy into what people say because they may be smarter or they may have more or they may be a multimillionaire, but it's not what God gave them, it's what God gave you. So Steve Wozniak, who is brilliant, who builds computers in his sleep, Steve Jobs could have probably been like, you know what, man? I guess you're right. You are the one that create these computers.
Yeah, you are the mega star.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. He was like, nah, listen, Wozniak, you slow on this thing. This needs to be in everybody's house. He said people need to, even at that time, the iPad was already created 12 years before it was actually created. I mean, before it was like put into,
and I know that to be true
media
because Idling, she kind of told me, she was like, yeah, I worked in Silicon Valley, and it's like,
yo, that stuff,
it's like
they using it.
They years ahead of where we are, like this year. Like we think, 2020. It's like, nah, they probably like 2040, bro.
Yo, bro,
they on something different. My man, what's my man with Nipsey? You already see what type of time.
Yeah.
He walking outside going like this, and phones is popping. I said, bro, come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all think we popping with the iPhone 12 or 13? Like y'all tripping.
Yo,
y'all think
man.
They ain't really got it going.
And that's the value in vision and knowing why. Like yo, things are birthed out of that, and that's why I love who Steve Jobs was, because he that was one of his slogans. Like, again, this is why branding and marketing is important to me, because it conveys a message that people eventually believe. And they do things because they believe it. He got people thinking and believing that, yo, these computers could be in everybody's house. So then he told, now that he has the why and the vision, now he can give Wozniak the what. Now Wozniak already knew the what. It was a computer. But he refined the what, because now he was like, people can't deal with these computers the way that you deal with them, Wozniak. You the one that built them. Like, nobody want to look at all this coding. You gotta make it user friendly. You gotta make it user friendly, because the average he said I want it so that little kids can draw on this thing, and I want it so somebody 80 years old can do this.
And his vision came to life.
And his vision came to life.
Got iPads in kindergarten.
Bro, every kid's got phones. They got iPods, Air iTouch, everything, this, that.
What an example.
Now watch this. Here's the beautiful thing about what Steve Jobs did, right? Because he created, this is what like really, this is really what like blows my mind, and I hope people catch this.
Thinking too small.
Yeah, they thinking too small. I'm about to freak them out right now. Because that little conversation that they had in there, they gave birth to opportunities for other people to create on top of the platform. And now people's are millionaires and create even more ecosystems, and worlds are birthed out of, nations are birthed out of these different businesses are birthed. New lives are birthed out of like this idea. And that's I need the people to stop thinking so small about their why, about their idea.
Don't think so
small about it. Like, just think, this table that you have here was created by a person. No smarter than you and me. They just chose to do it.
I heard once that we're pretty much sitting in other people's thoughts all the time. Like everything around you is somebody else's thought that crazy. They brought to life, and it's like, you sitting around a bunch of thoughts.
Yeah.
But we don't think about life that way. It's like, if he didn't do that, do we ever get this stuff?
Nah, man, we don't. But just think about how many people that went to the grave. That's why they say, I think I heard it from Miles Monroe. He said the graveyard is the wealthiest place on earth.
Yeah,
because people die with ideas that they never gave birth to.
Me out, man, because it makes me think. Just using the analogy of Steve Jobs, just to stay there, he creates all the stuff that we're using. Like I'm recording this on a MacBook.
Yep.
Apple product, your iPad, iPhone, all this stuff, right? And I'm thinking like, all right, we all have something. Maybe not necessarily like an electronic product, but it's something that you need to give to the world.
Right.
If the world doesn't have it, it's missing out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't do this,
it's dependent upon
big time.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if this ever even happens, right? And it's like, it's such a necessity. It's like, yo, you keep thinking in the present tense of like, yo, they already did everything in the world. Like, what am I bringing value to?
Right.
But you got to start thinking like, yo, this might be 50 years from now. This might be 100 years from now. It might be just 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But whatever I'm bringing of value that God has blessed me to bring is of extreme value, and it's a necessity for the future. It's a necessity for the future.
What if Martin Luther King didn't do what he was?
It's a necessity for the future. I think about stuff like that all the time. Like, yo, because we celebrate, yo, man, they really did a lot for us. It's like, all right, well, you have a responsibility.
It's our time now.
You have a responsibility to use whatever gifts God has given you to bring that vision that you have in your mind to fruition. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Steve didn't come in and have all the parts for everything. Like, all right, well, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
Now I got the vision.
Yeah.
I'm going to will my way to this joint. We're going to work at it. We're going to work at it. We're going to fail. We're going to work at it, fail, work at it, fail. And now it's, wow, man, that's heavy, man.
But see,
we think so small.
Look at this. Like, they actually created the first mouse. Like the mouse. Because, and it's crazy. The guy that tells the story that actually created the mouse, he was like, yo, we need to make the, like, you see that little pointer right there? I need it to be able to move around and click. And he kind of gave him some other details, but that was it. And he was just like, I had to figure it out. So he had this little box and he was kind of moving it around. And then he was like, what if I get, he went to like the store and was looking for the deodorant ball. You remember them deodorants?
Deodorant.
So he took the ball, he took the ball out of it and put it under the little box thing, and he was moving it around. And that's how they came up with the mouse. Remember the mouse had the little ball in the joint? Now you got mouses with the laser now. It's like it gives birth to other things.
But it's like, it don't happen if you don't start.
And
those dudes ain't worried about if they worthy enough. It's like, I got this idea and I'm crazy enough to try and bring it to.
I'm just going to go.
It's bugged out, man. And we take so much stuff for granted, like it's supposed to be here, like the airplane. You know what I mean? Just all this stuff around us. And it's like, yo, you have something in you that needs to come out. It may not be one of those type of inventions. It may be a book. It may be whatever it is. It may be just value somewhere, but it's such a necessity. Like God doesn't make mistakes, and you're not here by chance. Like He didn't make you, oh shoot, I made an accident. I didn't mean to bring you down here.
Right.
It's like, nah, you were here for a very specific purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we live our lives. So many people live their lives as accidents, and that's why we have anxiety. That's why we stress. That's why we worry. That's why we feel less than.
Yeah.
Because the world is, it tries to beat us down. But the reality is, you were brought here for a very specific purpose.
Yeah,
until you return home.
Yeah, and that's why this whole change agency is important to me, because again, as I'm promoting unity, when you go through trauma, like as a kid, when you go through trauma, there should be somebody that helps pull you up.
Facts.
That should be that should be
like
the
position. Like somebody man, just in that thing, because it's nonstop.
It shouldn't be like, yo, Les, you're a real good dad because no, man, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like I don't need no plaque that says you the best father. Yo, this is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I love doing it.
Right.
Like I don't feel obligated. I love doing it. And the reason why is because they're a part of me and they're a part of my responsibility. I'm supposed to guide them.
Absolutely.
And then when I go, they're an extension of what I've instilled in them. So if I instill some bad stuff into them, they're gonna continue that bad stuff, and they're gonna whatever you do, your kids gonna maximize it. I'm gonna say that right now. Whatever you do, your kids gonna maximize it. I mean, and it may be in different ways. Like we all, and I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. It's interesting that the millennial group, right now, I'm telling like right now in our 30s, we all are experiencing moments where we're getting hit with like moments from our past. Like, because what happened? So when you look at our life, we went through, you know, the .com and all this stuff, and life started happening. College, you know, life, you know, we moving. Now we in our 30s, things starting to slow down a little bit. And when I mean slow down, I mean we getting families, we get married. You know, now it's like more responsibility. It's not like, oh, we going to the club. We ain't worrying about dealing with issues and trauma. We in the club, or we trying to get this bag. Right. Yeah, we out. Now that we sitting down, right? Now that we sitting down, and we're trying to be more effective with things, and we're unable to move forward. Now we like, what is wrong with me? And then you start feeling, yo,
oh snap,
something's wrong. Something like, what am I doing? Yo, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying. And then you, after a while, hopefully you get the hint that, yo, you dealt with something, or you experienced something that you never actually dealt with. And that's how we get back to the story of me and my dad, where me and him had, we didn't really have a relationship when I was younger. You know, he was always at the computer. He was having PBRs and business meetings and things. He was always at conferences and stuff like that. And when he was home, he was on the phone. Like, I didn't really have a strong relationship, and the only thing that I would kind of get from him is discipline. But he didn't have a dad when his dad died when he was 3.
Sheesh.
So he kind of created I guess this perception that he was going to, I guess, make me a man or give me something that I didn't have, and try to keep me from making mistakes and stuff, like, you know what I mean? So he was really stern, really disciplinarian, but didn't give me much of a relationship when it comes to, you know, communicating, feelings, crying, hug, kid, none of that stuff really. You know, my mom kind of forced him to do that kind of stuff, and I get it, because he didn't have it when he was growing up.
Yeah.
But moving on to what was I, 30? I was 30. Yeah, I was 30 years old.
What was it, last year?
It was when Alyssa was born. 2 years ago. So this time last year, 2 years ago, this time, because Alyssa was born November 13th. So on November, November 11th or November 12th, my wife was like, why don't you call your dad to see if he can come over and help you out with putting the crib up. And mind you, remember, I still had out for the surgery. So I was still on crutches and still had my knee brace and everything. And I was still non-weight bearing. So I couldn't put no weight on it or nothing. So I was like, you know what? All right, cool. So I called my dad. He came at like 9 o'clock. He didn't leave until 4 o'clock in the morning. And what happened was, I was talking to my wife about how I wanted to talk to him about some of the things that I was just feeling, because I couldn't move past these feelings of like rejection. I mean, I can call what they are now, but at the time I didn't know what it was. I was just kind of deep in this depression and like really deep in my emotions, and really didn't have an explanation for them. So I remember having this talk with him, and I remember sitting in the chair and just talking to him. He's sitting on my daughter's bunk bed. And after we got done, we were done the crib at like 10:30. And I just start loading. like I remember this, I remember that, and I remember how it made me feel. And I thought I was going to be like really emotional and cry. I was emotional, but I wasn't crying or nothing like that. Until he was like, yo, I'm sorry. And I just broke. He was like, yo, first of all, I didn't need, he's like, first of all, you know, you've been married now for almost 10 years. You got kids, your house on. I thought you was good. Like, I see you out here doing what you're doing. You inspiring people, you this and that. I thought you was, I thought you was good. I thought you didn't really need to have this conversation. And I was just like, nah, man, like I need it more than any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got to tell me, this is where, the topic of this change starts with the why. What helped me was he started to tell me his stories, and he started to tell me his trauma, and I got to learn why he treated me the way that he did. He gave me the reasons. Now, although I didn't believe those reasons were valid. I mean, I understood why he did it.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't make it any better.
Doesn't make it, but yeah, it doesn't make it any better. But
yeah.
he ain't know no better. He ain't have his dad.
Yeah.
So I had to extend grace to him. But at the same time, I didn't just sweep it under the rug. I felt it. And when he shared these things with me, I never knew these things about my dad.
Wow.
I never knew these things. And then when he explained it to me, it made sense. Oh, that's why you move like that. That's why you say them things. That's why you act. Oh, I get it. Now I can put two and two together, because at this point I'm mature enough to know, people are pretty much the accumulated experiences that they've had in their lives.
Right.
So I had to take it and go, you know what, Dad, I love you, man. I appreciate you sharing this with me. But at that moment, when he said sorry, he explained, I try to explain this and give people a visual. I was sitting in this chair, and I know you probably heard this story 100 times now, but I feel like the 14-year-old me got up out of my 30-year-old body and ran down the stairs and walked out the house. And that at that moment, I became a man, and I was 30 years old.
Wow.
Because I was still feeling the emotions that I could not explain, communicate. Really, I couldn't articulate it. None of that. Like, I couldn't. But when I found out the why from my dad,
changed everything.
It changed everything. And that's why I say change starts with why.
Now that's powerful. And I have a very similar experience with my dad and my mom.
Yeah.
Of me getting to hear your story. That's why I love stories. I've always loved stories. I'm like, yo, just share your story.
Me too.
And obviously I needed to be in a mature place to understand that. But once they finally both shared their stories, like you said, it's that extended grace. It's just like, I see you as more than just my parent now.
You're human.
Yeah. Like, you're like me.
You're human.
You're just like me. It's like, yo, you go through some crazy stuff. Like, I didn't even think, my mom went through all types of stuff. My dad went through all types of stuff. And it's just like, dang, y'all went through some stuff.
Yeah,
and
man.
to have a kid at, my parents had me, I think they were 19.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, sheesh, that's different. I don't know how to handle that. So again, that extended grace, but that why, man, that why is everything. And like I said, I've been learning that from you, just the why. We've been kind of like diving into that. And that's been inspiration for me for everything that I do.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful because, like you said, that's what really fuels what you do with the Change Agency, how you go into people's brands and businesses and just flip it upside down and go in that thing. And that's what makes it so different than everything else that's out there. So as we transition into closing, I do have a few more questions I want to ask. What's next for Les? What's next for the Change Agency? Like, what's that next step? What are we looking towards?
For me personally, man, I want to heal and be free from any trauma, anything that I experience, even on a day-to-day. I want to be in a place where I can constantly just give grace and constantly kind of let things go.
Right.
I want to be liberated from trauma. Like, and what I mean by that is I know that things are going to happen. I know challenges are going to happen, but I don't have to allow it to become a struggle. I learned the lesson and I move forward. If I make the mistake, I learn the lesson and I move forward. I don't stay stuck in that stuff because I know what it feels like to just be stuck in a rut and going down a hole of depression because I'm stuck in one thing. Like, we glorify the struggle, man.
Yeah, I remember at one point I was like wrapped. I'm like, yo, I got the struggle. And it's like I was looking at it the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not proud of it, but I understand the superpower of it. Like, oh, it's my story. I can use this to get in anywhere.
Yeah.
This is what makes me unique. But it's like, it's nothing to glorify.
Nah, it's nothing to glorify. It's like if you identify yourself in the struggle, how can I say it? If you can identify yourself in the struggle, that's the first step of you getting out of it. Because most people that are in the struggle, they don't know that they're in one. They don't know. What happens is they fail a test and they keep failing it. and they keep failing it, and they keep bumping their head against the same thing, but they don't realize that it's a test. They don't realize that, and then what happens is, because you keep failing it, the growth that you're actually supposed to have, it's like it's funny. I learned this from my man. It's like black men's hair, right? Right? Like our hair grows like curl, don't go straight up. So sometimes we get like hair bumps.
Yeah.
So it's like, because you're not growing straight through.
Right.
You got all these bumps. You got all you know what I'm saying? You got all this representation of you not learning this lesson.
Wow.
And I know I kind of gave a different analogy. Yeah. And it's funny. I just I was just talking to this barber about it, and that's why I kind of popped into my head. But it's real though. People that are in a struggle most of the time don't even realize that they're in a struggle. They've accepted his life.
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean that's next for me as a just constantly being able to just free myself constantly. If I'm dealing with something, man, I feel it, move on. I finished my bad. I love my bad, blah, blah, blah. Please forgive me. Move on, let's grow. Boom. And then we just come together.
Right.
What's next for my business and for the change agency is just to continue to build a good reputation for what it is that we do. Grow it bigger, louder, stronger, all of that marketing and all that stuff. But the biggest thing is to represent the Holy Spirit and the word in such a way in the marketplace that, like, for people that really want to be freed, they come to us, man. Like there's even people that's in business that make millions, but they not free.
Right.
Like I see them.
I actually read that this morning because I've been reading a proverb a day, and I think I'm on Proverbs 22. The first verse said, "A good name is worth more than riches."
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah, and I sat on that and just kind of meditated on that. But it speaks to what you're talking about. A good name is worth more than riches, and I'm just like, that's powerful, man. Because what you're saying is pretty much like, you didn't say, "Oh, I want to scale it to this," and this is like, "Yo, I want to impact people in a way, man, that frees them." That's a good name right there.
Yeah, man.
Because you're not saying like, I'm gonna have the cheapest prices, none of that stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you get free.
Help you get free.
Whatever that looks like for you and your business, I'm gonna help you get free.
Yeah.
So that's powerful, man. That's powerful. How can people connect with you?
Well, it's Squair Jr. on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't hit me on Twitter.
I ain't on Twitter.
Yeah, I ain't on Twitter. But if you happen to just be on there and you think of me or whatever,
go on, at me real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, at me. Also, I have a community number if you want to get my live engagements where I'm constantly sharing different branding, marketing tips, and just some things to free you. Please.
Oh yeah, share that number, and I'll make sure to put it in the description as well.
All right.
Make sure that y'all send a message to that number, man, and get connected with Les. If you really want to get connected, if you're serious about it, definitely make sure you reach out and hit this number to join his community. Yeah.
So the number is 609-354-5844. 609-354-5844. And reach out. Yeah. Most people when they get with me, like their first session, they always tell me that it feels like a therapy session for their business.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah.
It's not what they expected.
Nah, it's not what they expected at all.
So before we close out, I always have my guests bring a quote with them. You brought a very powerful quote with you, and I want you to go ahead and share that, and then just briefly kind of expand upon that. Like, what does that really mean to you, and why that quote?
Yeah, nothing ever changes until the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. I'm gonna try to briefly say it. The first thing is my dad gave me that quote back when I was a kid. So it's really near and dear to me because that was like one of the connections that we had was personal development. So when he shared that quote with me, it stuck with me because he loved the quote so much. He loved it so much. He would say it all the time, and it was just written on my heart. So whenever I would say it, it was like me bigging up my dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Beyond just the meaning of or the interpretation of it, it was more of a connection that I had with my dad that I desired to have. It was like me having a relationship with him by sharing that quote. You know,
that's powerful,
and bigging him up. But obviously, you know, it's a pretty simple quote. You know,
yeah.
Nothing ever changes until the pain of remaining the same. Like, you know, until the pain, you know, becomes so great that you feel like, man, like I'm in the funk right now. Like it's kind of like the prodigal son. Like he looked at himself, came to himself, was like, yo, I can live better than this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I can be better than this until you get to that moment where you just get tired. You know, nothing will change until the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. Because the pain of changing growth it's uncomfortable, but it's not the same pain of remaining the same. Remaining the same means you're gonna you can be in a struggle for the rest of your life.
Different, yeah.
But
people choose that all the time.
Yeah, but the feeling of being uncomfortable is you eventually grow through it and you become better. But if you stay there, man, I know what that's like when you just stay there. And I had to come to myself. So that's why that quote is near and dear to me.
Yeah, that's such a powerful quote, simplistic quote, but it speaks directly to me because it's like, yo, you're gonna complain about your situation or you're gonna change it. It's like it must not be that bad yet.
Must not, right?
It must not, because you keep talking about it, but it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But you keep bringing it to me, but you're not trying to do nothing about it. You know what I mean? And for me, I had to have that kind of come to Jesus moment with myself, like go stand in the mirror, like, yo, it's that bad. Like it's time to make some changes.
Time to make some changes.
And when that happened, obviously my life changed, but it had to get to that point. Hopefully for the listeners, it doesn't have to get to that point where it's that bad for you having to change, because you live in a comfort now that you complain about,
right?
Which is really discomfort,
right?
So it's like, yo, you're in discomfort either way. Why not just go for the change? But when something isn't familiar to us, we kind of shy away from it.
Yeah, and
we go back to what's comfortable and what's familiar.
It's a mindset shift. It really is a mindset shift. It was like the story. I think Les Brown said it. He said this dude was walking down the street and he saw a dog on the porch and he was moaning like real loud. And he was like, "Why did the dog keep moaning?" He's like, "Cause he's sitting on a nail." He's like, "Sitting on a nail? Oh, why won't he move?" He said, "Well, it don't hurt enough yet."
Right.
He's just gonna sit there and moan while you're in his nail. Like,
hurt enough yet.
Like, get up off that thing.
Wow. That's good.
You're just gonna let that joint penetrate you, like,
man. We can go on story for story. I love that, though. I love that. But that thank you for sharing that. Before I let you go, of course, I need to ask you, what does change what we normalize mean to you?
Man, there's so many things that we normalize that are just bad for us. And we know it's bad for us, but we again, that pain hasn't grown to a magnitude where we feel like we need to come up off of it. But the reality is, we need to change. I'll just speak about something specific, the trauma.
Right.
We need to change the division, because if we don't have the conversations, if we don't come together, if we keep creating subcategories and subclasses, it's just going to continue to divide us. The first art of war is to cut off communication. So when you divide us, that means that you speak a different language than I do. And because you speak a different language, I ain't trying to hear what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? So we got to come to a place where it don't matter if you black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever.
Yeah.
Gay, straight, whatever. We can come to the table and talk about what's going on with each other and normalize those conversations. Because when you normalize those conversations, then you can get to understand. And then it's kind of going back to that we're all human and we're having a human experience. Like, and we all make poor decisions, we make good decisions, but the reality is we all gonna go back to these two different places. We're gonna go back to where we came from. And we have to be better at normalizing the things that need to be changed. I just like remix it. I do that often.
Nah, you ain't the first one though. You ain't the first one because my last guest, Coach V, she did something very similar.
Oh, okay,
okay. I like the way you remix that.
That's what's up.
It's not the way it goes, but I like that. Either way you throw normalizing that thing, it works.
Right.
Throw normalizing it, man. And even speaking of change, what we normalize, as we talked about yourself, Steve Jobs, it's like I know the why behind it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know every step of what this looks like. It could be a podcast today, it can be something else tomorrow, but it's like I know the why of this whole thing. I know why it was birthed.
Right.
And that's what fuels and keeps this going. So
I
just wanted to say thank you, man.
Oh, of course.
Appreciate you, bro, for being on this. Love you as a brother.
Love you too, man.
I'm excited. We had a little special guest. We had another one around here somewhere showing off. But I was super excited, man, and just blessed that we got to do this. This is actually the first, again, episode where I was able to have a guest with me.
Yeah.
Since COVID started, y'all. This started during the pandemic, literally. And I was home putting some things together, and I had a message that I wanted to get across. And I recorded like 30 plus episodes by myself, started a season 2. And I just started doing things, man. And that's what it really is. It's like, what's that idea that's in your mind? As he spoke earlier, what's that idea that's in your mind that needs to come out? Because you can't see what's in my mind. I can't see what's in his mind, right? But that thing needs to come out and manifest itself. And other people need that thing. Right. So don't think that your idea is too small. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that you're insignificant, but really begin to change the way that you think, really change what you normalize and put that thing out here, y'all. So I appreciate everybody. Make sure that y'all follow Les, that y'all are checking out his stuff. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Share this with somebody that you love. And until next time, I love y'all. As always, change what we normalize, because what was normal wasn't working. Right, Nip? He said right. Love y'all. Peace.